Jenna.
And this is Noelle.
And you're listening to More Than Murder, where we delve into everything eerie with a side of true crime.
More Than Murder is not your typical true crime podcast. Join us on a weekly tour through the haunted, the bloody, the creepy, and the nutty on our Freaky Fridays.
Hello and welcome back, listeners.
Yes, hello.
I'm waving and you can't see.
No.
How are you today, Noelle?
I am good. It is a beautiful morning. It is not too hot and not too cold just yet. So
yes, it's good. I'm gonna get my suntan lotion on later and mow the lawn.
Yeah,
get
perfect.
Some sun. I'm excited. Yes.
Yep.
No rain. Opposite rain dance.
I think the weather changed, but that's just maybe Deonsville.
It changes every 5 minutes.
Yes, it does.
It's gonna rain. Oh no, it's sunny. Oh no, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's snowing.
Yeah, oh no, it's snowing. Please no.
For today's episode, we're going into sort of a different topic here.
Yay! It's our first actual nutty episode.
Yes, we haven't really delved into it, but it's time for a cult.
Yes!
Yes! I know. I myself, I've always been interested in cults.
Yeah.
Watching the documentaries with my mom, Jonestown, the Manson family.
Same. Even the Church of Scientology, I'm still working through that
yes!
Netflix thing.
And like Nexium is the newer one.
Yep.
Like just anything, I'm like, devour it. So thanks, Mom. Seriously, thank you. I do want to put a trigger warning at the top. This particular story ends very tragically, so due to graphic content involving suicide, listener discretion is advised. Okay? Now, this particular cult is not well known in my brain. Mm-hmm. I know, like some others, where I can tell you, every little thing about every little thing. And once I started researching it, I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot more than I even thought it was. Yeah. I knew about the tragedy at the end. I knew that was going to be happening, but yeah, if you're like me.
Nitty gritty.
I know. And yeah, if you're like me and you want to learn more, strap in because we're talking about an alien UFO cult.
Wow.
Did that grab your attention?
That sounds like my kind of cult, honestly.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We probably would have joined this motherfucking cult.
Yeah, just the title. I'm like, that sounds like a cult I want to join.
Back in the 70s, the New Age movement, everyone's trying new things. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hopefully I would have been one of the ones to, get out.
Yeah, before the end, yeah.
Yes. But
just enjoy the ride.
Fuck. Okay, so to start off, I want to discuss our two key players, the twisted minds behind the religious movement known as Heaven's Gate.
Okay. It was religious, but it was also alien-based.
Yeah, we'll get into
interesting.
The different things that kind of, spawned it and inspired it.
All right.
Yeah. So this main section, my main source was Wikipedia. They each have their own Wikipedia pages, so it was really nice. And I was like, okay, I'm going with that. And then I ended up using the main guy, Marshall Applewhite. I ended up using his for pretty much the whole episode because it had so much information. It went through the whole timeline. It was pretty great. So yeah, sources. You can find them on the website.
I gotta wonder if this is Marshall's real last name.
Applewhite?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Applewhite.
Yeah,
okay.
Applewhite. And
that's the perfect guy to make a call.
Well, I typed Applegate 13 times.
Honestly checking the blog right now because I feel like I wrote Applegate.
Yeah, it's I just wanted to write Applegate for some reason. It's Applewhite.
Yeah, Applewhite.
And apparently a lot of people close to him called him Herf.
Oh, okay.
And then they also have a myriad of nicknames, which we'll fucking get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, enter stage left, like we just said, Marshall Applewhite. He was born in Texas on May 17th, 1931. Okay. Don't know how I feel about his birthday being so damn close to mine.
What? Oh.
17th to the 19th.
I'm like April 30 or 31.
What? 1930.
1931. That's not close to your birthday at all.
Well, no. Okay. He was the son of a Presbyterian minister, so religion was a strong factor in his life from early on.
Okay.
As a young adult, he earned his bachelor's in philosophy. Okay. He then went on to enroll at Union Presbyterian, and he was going to follow in his father's footsteps and become a Presbyterian minister, or a minister of maybe another religion. I don't know, this guy.
The religion he creates.
Yeah, exactly. So he marries and has 2 children before deciding that minister life just isn't going to be for him. He has other passions that he wants to pursue. So he decides to follow his passion and pursue music. He becomes the music director at a church in North Carolina, and apparently he was a very good singer. He was very charismatic, which all cult leaders are charismatic.
You gotta be.
You gotta be.
Gotta be convincing.
Yeah, so that is what he was doing. But by the 1950s, there is a stint in the military. He was drafted, so it wasn't, I don't think it was something that he chose to do. Yeah. But I didn't really get into that very much.
Yeah.
He ends up leaving. He earns a master's degree at the University of Colorado in music. So he's going to school. He's following his passions. Mm-hmm. It's like normal history, kind of. You know, it's just like, oh, okay. After trying and ultimately being unsuccessful at a music career in New York City, Applewhite decides to get a teaching job at the University of Alabama. Now, during this time, Applewhite is struggling a lot with his sexuality. He's married to a woman, but he has urges and finds attraction to males. Okay. So I think he was identifying as a homosexual. He felt that, but of course with his father and his upbringing and the religion, his father's a minister. That's probably not going to go over well.
So I think but like the time period too.
So I think he tried to, stomp it down and do what he needed to do. So apparently he loses a teaching job. I think it was the Alabama teaching job when he pursues a male student. So he was engaging in a relationship. It wasn't very good, and he lost his job for that.
All right.
Things are still not going well because in 1965, his wife leaves him after hearing, of the affair with a man. Yeah, she probably wasn't too happy about that. Mm-mm. Afterward, he moves to Houston, where he serves as a chairman on the music department at the University of St. Thomas. Okay. So he's spending a lot of time at colleges. He does very well in this position. Mm-hmm. Musically, he does excel very well. At this time, of course, Applewhite is still struggling with his sexuality, and he was very internally confused due to his religious background. So he starts becoming very depressed. He's not really sure how to process or who he really is probably at this point. And he ends up leaving the university in 1970. Okay. According to the Wikipedia article, the president of the university, who once described Applewhite as a very engaging speaker, now described him as disorganized and very scattered towards the end of his employment. So he saw changes in Applewhite towards the end. By 1972, Applewhite meets an incredibly special woman, and the two forge a very strong bond. This will bring about a new religious movement and ultimately have severe consequences.
And so it starts.
So here we go. This woman is Bonnie Lou Nettles. So we're going to get a little bit of background on her, but it doesn't go as in-depth as his. Okay. She was raised by a Baptist family, and it said that she moved away from religion as she got into her adult years. It wasn't something that she really kept up with. She was married with 4 children, and she worked as a registered nurse. As you can see from the picture, that's like her nursing photo. Mm-hmm. Her marriage was pretty normal, but by the 70s, things started getting a bit rocky. Nettles had a passion for astrology and the occult. She was very interested in reading stars and making star charts, and she believed in UFOs at this time and that one was going to come and scoop her up.
Which is pretty much the opposite of what most, Christian or Catholic religious
Yes.
beliefs.
And in the 70s, we have this huge New Age movement coming. So a lot of people are going past religion and they're looking into different spirituality things that they can do. And this is one of them. It's said that she would attempt seances and try to communicate with spirits.
My kind of lady.
One spirit, that of a 19th century monk named Brother Francis, had spoken to her often.
Huh.
He was giving her instructions on paths to take and things to do, apparently. And I'm not sure if maybe it was like about the movement a little bit, like telling her about like, you're kind of a messiah, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. So maybe Brother Francis kind of started that needle in her head.
Strange that it would be a monk that would direct her down this path. Okay.
Yeah, yep, Brother Francis.
Brother Francis.
Yeah.
That doesn't even sound like a monk name, really. Brother Francis. No.
Why not?
I just don't see
Francis.
Francis.
Francis is an older name.
That's true, and there are, like, I guess when I think of monk, I just think of, like, the really peaceful Tibetan monks that are, like, just, I feel like wouldn't be named Francis.
I feel like I think of the hole in the head royal,
like a friar.
They're monks, but they're Christian monks.
Yeah.
So they live, you know. Yeah.
It's funny. You think
so
Christian
that's what
monk
I would
and
think
I think
of.
Tibetan monk.
I watch a lot of historical dramas, which involve monks and monasteries. So yeah. So anyway, Nettles also visited what Wikipedia called them fortune tellers. They had foreseen that she would meet a man who was tall, had light hair, and a fair complexion. So I'm sure once she met Applewhite, it felt like a divine coupling, and they were meant for bigger things. The actual story of how these two met is super murky. It's contradicted in a lot of different tellings. They say that Applewhite was lying and this is how they met. So they had a bunch of different little meet cutes in my research. I'm not listing them all off. They met, okay? Mm-hmm. All that's important is the fact that when they did meet, it felt cosmic.
It's weird that you just said that because I was going to say it was cosmic.
Uh-huh.
Dude.
Cosmic, yeah. I know.
We're
cosmic.
Cosmic. Cosmic.
Come for us, UFO.
We're just going to say that right now. Cosmic.
Cosmic. Yeah. So,
we'll put t-shirt. Cosmic.
So that's basically what their relationship felt like. Applewhite described that he felt as if he'd known Nettles for the longest time, and he even believed that they'd known each other in a past life.
Okay.
Nettles, I know, right? It's like, it's hard.
Like, I'm down with, like, this lady and, like...
The astrological spirituality of it. I know it's hard.
I was just going to say, well, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about Lilydale. We gotta make a trip.
We definitely gotta make a trip. Like, oh my God, all day. Yes, okay, I'll start looking up when you leave.
Yeah, okay.
So, Nettles ended up giving Applewhite an astrological reading.
All right.
She wrote his chart, his map. And this led him to believe that there was a higher purpose for them. They were both convinced that they were, quote, the two. And the two were mentioned in the Revelations book 11.
Okay.
Or chapter 11, sorry. And it was the end time. They were the end time witnesses that were going to bring about the end of the world and saviors of their followers, basically. So they are known as the two very early on.
So did they want to end the world?
They didn't want to end the world.
Basically, they thought the end was coming.
Yes, basically what the book of Revelations is the end is coming. This is what needs to happen.
It's like their version of the apocalypse.
To save, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. Nettles and Applewhite were now, of course, inseparable, and he believed she was his soulmate.
Oh.
Their relationship was strictly platonic. It was not romantic.
It's just a literal soulmate. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's nice.
But
actually.
They felt this pull towards each other and decided that they need to travel and hold gatherings where they could teach their new ideologies. They had to go, they had to do some soul searching, they had to really figure out what they were being told from higher up and what their purpose was as the two. Okay? So to do this, Nettles ends up getting a divorce from her husband, and she leaves the children with him and just leaves.
That's sad.
We'll get into the even sadder part of that.
No.
So in 1974, the pair started printing pamphlets and ads for recruitment purposes. They stated that they represented beings from another planet known as, quote, the next level. The goal was to recruit people and basically get their word out. I guess at the beginning, the pair went by Guinea and Pig. I found that a lot in my research. I don't know where that came from, but they'll go through a lot of different religious names throughout, and they're bonkers. So, yeah.
All right.
In September of 1975, their meetings started having some traction. They were putting pamphlets in like the colleges and stores and things that literally just at the top said UFO. So a lot of people at this time are starting to believe in space, and people are going to the moon, and we're traveling to space, and there's UFO sightings. So it's like, oh, what is this? You know, they're intrigued by it. They called it the Human Individual Metamorphosis. So that was the first name of this religion movement. Yes, him. And basically the metamorphosis was you literally metamorphized into an alien being. If you were able to renounce your human life, you would metamorphize, and then you would be taken up in a spacecraft and then taken to the next level. Okay? So that is how the religion starts. That is what the ideology is. While in Oregon, they successfully recruit 30 followers who left their homes, jobs, and families. They didn't even tell their families. So a lot of these kids were reported missing. They didn't know what had happened to them. Yeah, it was basically just, you have to go. You have to, this is your human life. You have to go.
Wait, what happened? Rewind.
What do you mean?
Okay, so they did what with their kids?
No, in Oregon, they successfully recruited 30 followers who left their home, jobs, and families to travel.
Yeah, okay.
But they didn't tell their families.
Oh, okay. You said that children were reported missing. I was confused.
Yeah, the parents of these kids who went missing, they didn't call their families and were like, hey, we're joining this group. They literally just went missing.
So children reported their parents. Okay, I gotcha.
No.
What?
Their families reported them missing. So maybe they were adults.
Yeah.
But they were reported missing because they just came up and were missing.
Right.
They just left. So they didn't tell anybody, significant others, anything, just gone. So there's news reports that show, 20 missing, Oregon, where did they go? Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. They continue traveling around and doing speaking engagements, hoping to spread their word and get even more followers, of course. They also decided at this time that they would change their names to Bo and Peep. Bo and Peep.
Okay.
Not sure the significance of these names.
Where's the Bonnie and Clyde gonna come in?
That's what they went with. Oh no, they're gonna choose their final name soon, and it's bonkers. So the group ended up going up to 70 followers through these speaking engagements.
Wow.
And those that joined were told that in order to reach a true ascension, they must leave all earthly desires behind.
Okay.
This, of course, included friends, family, drugs, alcohol.
They got a Marie Kondo their whole life,
their
much.
Jobs,
yeah,
sexuality, sexual relations, all of it.
What do you mean? So you gotta feel nothing, be nothing.
We'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Yep. So members could not engage in sexual relations, and of course we will come back to this. This is my favorite part. Members were also made to adopt new religious names. Okay? Noel's laughing because we've already talked about this. I couldn't wait. So these were 2-syllable names. The first part was the first 3 consonants, usually of a person's name, but they could choose something else if they wanted to. And then the second part of the name was always Ody. O-D-Y. Okay? So, of course, I took the time to figure out what our names would have been. So I would be Janody.
Janody.
J-N-N-O-D-Y. Janody. And you, Noelle, would be Nalody.
Nalody.
N-L-L-O-D-Y.
Nalody.
Nalody. Sean would be Shwody.
That's hilarious.
Shwody, what's up?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I died. So that is just crazy enough to be amazing. I just love it.
If you guys want to know what yours is, let us know. Write us in, and we will tell you guys all in the next episode or whatever what your guys all.
Yes, we'll have a little segment of our listeners.
Yeah,
cult names.
Write in and then tune in live next week, I believe.
Next week our live,
and
yes, we'll do it on our live.
Yeah, we'll do it then.
Or you can even just comment on the live and be like, hey, what's mine? And then we'll figure it out real quick. Because it is a lot of fun. It's funny.
If you didn't have a chance to get us on the email, then come in on the live and let us know.
So I'll shout that email at the bottom. Yes. So these names that were given to followers were said to signify that, of course, they were children of God. Once Once they felt the group was large enough, the pair stopped speaking engagements and just worked on their teachings.
All right.
By 1976, they changed their names as well.
Oh boy. Did they change them, like, actually change? Like, change them legally?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
It's just what they went by. Okay, so Nettles and Applewhite
Oh gosh.
became Doe and Tea.
Okay.
It's literally Doe, a deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden sun, me, a name I call myself, a long way to run. So it was literally because of The Sound of Music, I guess.
Oh wow.
It was T or Nettles' favorite movie. She loved it.
So they chose that as
and
nicknames.
I could see because Doe is the start and T is kind of like
the end. Yeah.
So I guess, yeah. I guess I could see where that ideology could have come into their teachings, but Doe and T.
It's still far-fetched and weird.
So with T, I kind of had, like, when I was doing my research, I had this feeling like I should probably change my dog's nickname now because we call her TT. And I was like, I gotta like whisper this so she doesn't get freaked out. I was like, gotta go potty, T? Yesterday while I'm recording, I'm like, no, my doggy's not T. So we'll see.
Oh, jeez.
So anyway, by June of the same year, they gathered all followers in Wyoming, stating that there would be a UFO visit.
All right.
Now, when they started, they acted as if it was imminent. It was something that was going to happen very soon. So it was very quick. We needed to join. We needed to do what we needed to do. We need to work on things. We need to renounce our bodily, lovely things in life.
Okay.
So, obviously, when they went out to Wyoming and they're standing out there, the UFO never arrived.
Uh-huh.
Doe and T simply told everyone it was mysteriously canceled.
Oh.
Like, oh, no, it'll be a different day.
Sorry.
It'll be a different day. That's how it goes with the apocalypse and everything. Like, oh, it's going to be this day. Wait, no, it's this day. Oh, I read this wrong.
2012.
Yeah. So, I don't get it. They also didn't stay in, like, one big group. A lot of the times they would break off and be in the little different groups. And they called these star clusters.
Okay.
And sometimes followers wouldn't even be with the leaders. They would just be working on themselves because it was individual metamorphosis.
Right.
So you had to work within yourself in order to get to that higher level and ascend.
Uh-huh.
So that's why it wasn't
That's kind of similar to the Church of Scientology.
Yeah, you're not just sitting there. They had meetings, of course, but it wasn't always you're sitting there, you're listening to the leaders, you're doing, all of that.
The Church of Scientology has, like, their own whole library that you need to, like, buy and read from and all that stuff. So, like,
Yep. So at this time, they also started telling the followers that they were the only source of truth.
Of course.
So basically, don't listen to those telling you, hey, this is probably a cult. You probably aren't going to see any UFOs. Get the fuck out of there. That's what you want. You want your followers dependent on
Timmy
you.
Schmidt is just ringing in my head right now.
Oh my God. The world ended. You can't go up there.
Yeah. It's a miracle. They're alive, damn it.
Oh my God. I love that show. I need to rewatch it.
I know.
Even though she's like really problematic right now and people hate her.
What?
You haven't seen that?
No.
So there is this beauty pageant that's very racist down south. And she was a part of it when she was younger.
Like how young?
Teenage years. Like
when her parents were she was in her house?
So she probably started them when she was young and then she got older and was like working the circuit.
Yeah.
And then she probably went into it. She was like probably like, I don't know the exact age, 16, 17 maybe.
I am not excusing her because I have not researched it, but if she did start when she was young, she probably had absolutely no idea that it was even something that was going like happening.
I know. Look it up.
I gotta look it up
because I know. Even Titus Burgess, he like responded to it and stuff. I haven't read that yet, but
he like, oh man, I gotta figure out what he says.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I don't know if he's for it, against it, or what he said exactly, but yeah. So she's a little problematic right now, but I do love that show.
I know.
I love Tina Fey, everything she does.
No.
So
I gotta look it up.
Anyway.
Yep, let's continue.
By the late 70s, the group had obtained housing. I believe it was in Texas. Before this, they were basically nomadic. They were moving around, living in campgrounds, living wherever they could, doing whatever they could. So now they have like a cemented little community with little houses that they all live in. They did not want anyone on the outside to really know what was going on. So windows in all the homes had been blacked out. So no one could just kind of peek in and be like, yeah, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
I think by this time, too, it was like in the news. The newspapers were kind of writing about this weird religious movement that they kind of heard little things about. And it was kind of like the media is symbolically killing us.
Okay, skipping ahead. Is this place like museumized now?
I don't know that.
I want to go to it.
We'll get into it because they move again like 18 more times.
I don't care. I want to go to that camp. That'd be awesome.
But I'll do that research because I'm not sure. That would be
That would be cool.
Morbidly cool, yeah. Anyway, Doe and T obviously got their own living quarters. During this time, it said that followers were made to follow a very regimented lifestyle mapped out to the minute. This was, of course, to prepare them for the next level. I couldn't find specifically what the regiment consisted of. Wikipedia said that it was like a boot camp type of thing that was just regimented. Not sure exactly what that meant, but also I feel like it's also like probably meditative and stuff like that because you're trying to individually reach that next level and look within yourself. So I can't speak on exactly what that is. I didn't find it in my research, but it was apparently regimented to the minute. So this is quite different from other cults, but if they couldn't accept or they didn't want to follow the policies or whatever, they could leave. They were encouraged to leave the group. And usually with other cults, it's like, no, you can't leave. No, they'll know what I'm doing. They'll know that I'm brainwashing you and it's not going to be good for me and it's going to get in the news and then the police are going to come after. Like, they don't want people to get out, especially towards the end, like Jonestown. No one could leave. He didn't want anybody to leave. He didn't want it to fall apart. So with this, that's kind of neat. That's kind of cool that he kind of let people just kind of leave. The numbers did start to dwindle a bit, and the group went down to about 40 members. Apparently, Applewhite was more quality over quantity with his group. He didn't want these huge masses of numbers.
Yeah.
Exactly. And maybe it was also for, like, obedience and, like, control. Who knows if he could even control that big of a group, and he didn't want it to fall apart. So smaller numbers might have been a little bit easier for him to really get that true obedience.
Or the ones bringing up obedience, the ones who don't truly believe, that would be the ones to leave if they had the choice. He wouldn't be able to control them.
Exactly. So with this, Doe and T also had tests for their followers. On one occasion, they told everyone that there would be, of course, a visit from extraterrestrials, and they made them stand outside all night waiting. They were like, you have to stand outside until they come. Of course, morning came, they did not arrive. So they told that this was a test, and anyone, you know, who passed this test was starting to become serious about the next level.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In 1980, the group did relax a little bit, and numbers started going up to around 80. Doe and T permitted members to call their families, and some were even able to visit home on Mother's Day.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, yep. This obviously was a tactic that they used to show the family, like, group members are choosing to be here. We're not forcing them to be here. They want to. It's all a tactic. In 1983, the group will experience the first tragedy. Bonnie Lou Nettles had been diagnosed with cancer 7 years earlier. That year, she went through an eye surgery, hoping that it would help with the cancer, but unfortunately, she ended up passing away in 1985.
Okay.
This next part is really sad. It's really sad. So, according to an article on apnews.com, Nettles' family did not know she was sick. The children had not even seen their mother since she left with Applewhite. They would get some pictures, they'd get correspondence through letters, but it was very, very far and few in between. It wasn't always frequent. It kind of dodged up and down.
More friendly rather than motherly. And
it wasn't. Yeah, it was just like, this is what we're doing. you know, I got a new haircut. This is, you know, it was just like weird, I'm on vacation type things, and probably teaching and little writings about what they were doing. So, yeah, it's not fucking cool. In 1986, Terry Nettles, I think she was the oldest daughter, but she was the daughter, tries to reach her mother due to her grandmother passing away. So she wants to let her know, like, hey, your mom died. Just thought you'd want to know.
Yeah.
She calls the residents, because they're staying in permanent housing right now. And, of course, one of the followers answers the phone. And they quoted as saying, we can't give her the message unless you tell us what it is, end quote. And then Terry stated back, quote, well, I can't do that because the message that I have is very personal, end quote. She wasn't just going to be like, yeah, tell my mom, like her mom died.
Yeah.
She wanted to have that conversation. So it gets worse. They obviously hung up on her. They weren't going to let her talk to her mother. I guess a few days after the call, 2 of the followers arrived at Terry's door. They gave her a few pictures and stated that her mother had passed away from cancer 9 months earlier. She didn't know her mom was sick, and she didn't know her mom had died.
So, when she was trying to reach her to tell her about that, the mother was already acted dead. Like they could have given her a message, but yet she wasn't even alive. Wow, that's so messed up.
And it's really sad, because before her mom left, it sounded like they had a really good relationship. Yeah. There is the HBO documentary, which I'll tell you about, and in that, you know, she was like, I loved my mom. We used to look at the stars together. We would imagine a UFO coming for us. So it seemed like she kind of had the same ideologies from her mom and as her mom, and they bonded over that. And then, you know, her mom just left, and it was just, she never saw her again.
Wow. Even though he allowed them to go and see families and stuff, she didn't bother.
Yeah. Wow. So that's awful.
That's messed up.
Of course, after the death of Nettles, Applewhite explained to his followers that she had traveled to the next level because she simply had too much energy to remain on Earth. Now, this throws their beliefs completely flips it, because you're supposed to be alive in your vehicle, and then you metamorphize like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, and then the spaceship takes you.
In your vehicle. Why does it have to be in your vehicle?
They just believed that. That's just what they believed. It wasn't wasn't your spirit, it was you. So her dying and leaving this body behind was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So he started to kind of change the ideology and kind of rework things. So
your soul gets put into an alien now, probably.
So the group accepted this as truth, but Applewhite started slipping into a depression and questioning his faith. He did claim, however, that Nettles was still communicating with him, and he decided that it was time to cement the unity of the group together after this tragedy. So, of course, he held a ceremony and symbolically married all of them.
What? What the fuck? Okay.
The followers were also always instructed. I know, right? Like, it does, I guess. Marriage is unity, so marry them all. The followers also were always instructed to see him as Christ, and in turn, they needed to turn to him for salvation.
Of course.
The death of his beloved T had Doe seeing things a little differently, like I just said. Before, he had believed one could physically ascend Earth, body and all. But when T passed and her body was left behind, he was forced to believe in a spiritual ascension. He began teaching his followers that T's spirit had traveled to a spacecraft where she received a new body. And this, in turn, what he and his followers would also need to do. Okay?
Okay.
They believed that heaven was a planet where highly evolved beings would dwell. Jesus was an extraterrestrial. And they had to facilitate evolution on other planets. So they had to, restart, and it's
repopulate, of course.
Yeah, it's basically like a science fiction mixed with Christianity.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And even
Jesus was an alien.
He would even quote Star Trek.
Oh my god.
Which is a scripted TV show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
What in the I'll ever love him.
So, according to the doctrine taught by Doe, Jesus was a gateway to heaven, but he found that humanity was not ready to ascend when he first came to Earth many millennia ago.
Also, I'm just loving that they think heaven is a planet.
It's a planet.
It's like a whole planet.
Yes.
I just love that.
And
that's tits, man.
apparently, they reached the whole spacecraft thing because in the Book of Revelations, they talk about a cloud that comes and like swoops people up, and they were like, well, that. They probably didn't know what a spacecraft was at that time, so they called it a cloud in the writings, but we know that it's a spacecraft that comes to take you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So, with this, Doe decided that there would be another opportunity to reach the next level every 2 millennia. Okay? So, this obviously had him zeroing in on the early 1990s as their next shot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Things are gonna get bad, guys. Doe had also begun growing a bit paranoid at this time. He feared the government was coming for him. So he actually stopped taking in new followers in fear of being infiltrated.
Spies.
He especially feared a group of evil extraterrestrials, which he referred to as Luciferians. And he also believed the Earth was about to be recycled. So they really needed to reach that next level and make it quick.
Okay, no slight, because there is a religious group called Luciferians.
Yes, I know.
So
I know.
I don't know why. Yeah,
I don't know, because he's taking.
You didn't know that then, maybe.
He's taking things from Christianity and then he's making it, So I think that Lucifer is the devil. So obviously the evil aliens are going to be Lucifer related. You know what I mean?
It's so bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Because they're just two opposite sides of the spectrum. Typically, with Christianity or Catholicism, there are no other extraterrestrials. There are no planets. Like, God created everything.
Don't even get me started, girl. I went to Catholic school.
Yeah, so you know. It's like so strange that he's somehow finding a way to link them now. And it's just, it is so
That's
bizarre.
how it is with every cult religion, though. It's like, I am Jesus. It's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, but none of them have involved aliens.
No, this was
strange.
This was definitely sci-fi. Yeah,
it's crazy. It balls to the wall, man.
Yep. So the group kept a pretty low profile during the late 80s, just kind of keeping to themselves. But by the 90s, things are starting to get a bit weirder. I guess the group had dwindled to about 26 followers.
Oh, wow. People were like, this is some fucking shit.
There were people leaving and rejoining and things like that all the time throughout the span. Because people think of Heaven's Gate and they think 90s. Yeah. 70s. It started in the 70s and went all the way to the 90s.
Yeah.
They had dwindles and they had things where they weren't really doing much, just kind of teaching with themselves. But it was long. It was 20 years.
Yeah, their website's still up.
Oh, we'll get into that fucking shit right down here. Yep. So the group released a 12-part video series. These are basically initiation tapes in hopes to gain new members looking to reach the next level. He also decided to publish a full-page ad in the USA Today warning of the catastrophic judgment which would befall the Earth.
Oh, wow.
He says it in these videos, because I've watched little bits of them. You can find them on YouTube. That the Earth is going to be recycled. The Earth is about to be recycled. The Earth is recycling itself. That was their one ideology. And a lot of religions that hone in on revelations, they believe the same thing. They think that the Earth is cyclical and everything is there's going to be a day where the Earth recycles itself and everybody's going to die unless you give yourself to God, and then you'll be saved. You'll be scooped up to the heavens.
They're like trying to take scientific positions because, yes, another ice age will happen someday.
Yeah.
The Earth will burn someday.
But it's more of a religious recycling, you know? It's just, yeah. So that's why Doomsday is always changing. The ad garnered some past followers to rejoin the group, fearing the end times. They thought, oh God, okay, this is really it. He talked about it. It didn't come then, but it's time. We gotta go. Applewhite also began speaking about suicide at this point and how that would be the way that they could ascend to the next level. Obviously, they were not calling it suicide. It was going back. It was their way to go back to where they came from. They were just here for an experiment of some sort, and to, of course, the two were here, but then everybody else was apparently, it's all fucked up.
I was going to say, came back where they came from. I thought this was supposed to be the next level. They weren't supposed to have been there before.
Well, T and Doe were old, like, walk-ins, so they were old beings that came and took heavenly bodies so that they would recruit people and save people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They had Messiah complexes. Real
Okay.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the two that were mentioned in the book of Revelation.
Okay.
Yeah. They were.
All right.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be the beings from heaven, the planet.
The planet. Extraterrestrial beings
That have come. Okay.
that came, took human bodies,
okay.
and yeah. So, yeah. Every human including the human body, sorry, I said that wrong. Everything human, including the human body, needed to be left behind. They decided at this time to also change the name to Heaven's Gate. So this is when it became Heaven's Gate.
So what was it before again?
Human individual metamorphosis.
That's right.
Him.
That's right. Him.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So they created a website, which, fun fact, it still exists to this motherfucking day.
It sure does.
It does. www.heavensgate.com. You go visit that shit after the
Someone
episode.
still
dude.
maintains it and maintains the domain, you guys.
It's wild. They even have a tab that's called, like, Our Thoughts Against Suicide.
Honestly, I bet you, like, somewhere in the dark web, there's still, like, chatting and meeting about it or something.
There's
like, if
gotta
somebody
be...
runs the page, there's something that's still...
Well, there are
that.
followers who are still alive.
Like,
to
yeah.
this day.
So they may be
who
upholding
knows?
the...
Yeah, who knows what? Yeah, I don't know. So
They got their own little speakeasies under the houses or something.
something. In 1995, the group relocates to New Mexico, and they build a compound they called Earthship. It was built out of, like, tires and...
Is that still around?
I don't know.
I gotta go to all these places.
I know. I
gotta
should
go
have
to,
looked
like,
it up, but I was so, like, zoning in on typing and researching that I didn't do the side goog.
They should have preserved all of them so people could take, like, a Heaven's Gate, like, facility tour.
Yes!
Like, around the country.
Well, you can go to Waco.
Yeah.
You can go to the Waco compound.
Yeah.
So, I feel like... And who knows, in Ghana, you might be able to go to Jonestown.
It's Jonestown, yeah, because he did move it. He relocated.
So, who knows? I'll have to search that up, and we'll do, like, a cult travel.
Cult trip travel.
Yes! Oh, my gosh. Okay. And this, of course, they didn't stay at the Earthship very long. He was kind of getting older. The winter was harsh and cold, and they were just like...
Oh, yeah, he was born in 31, and now it's 90-something. So, yeah, he's getting a little older, because
He's about in his 60s.
in his 70s, he would have been like 30, in the 70s, he would have been like 39, 40s.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
And I mean, my dad in his 60s started getting, like, he was cold all the time. It wasn't hot enough in the house. Before, he'd be like, turn that heat down to 65. I ain't paying for that shit. And after, he was turning it up more because he was cold. He just, things like that happen to your body. You don't regulate as well. So they move to California and they secure housing. In California, Doe starts to obsess over sexuality and the further suppression of sexual desires.
Why? Because of his own complexes.
We'll get into it, yep. So, Doe and several other members of the group opted for surgical castration.
Oh my. They really took that to the next level.
He believed that sexuality was the most powerful force binding us to our human bodies.
Okay.
So you had to get rid of it. And
that's not going to stop the urges. It's just going to stop being able to act on them.
I don't know, though, because if you don't have any of that stuff, I don't know how those urges... I don't know, because if a woman gets, like, a hysterectomy, sometimes her urge goes down. So who knows? If you're getting castrated, you might not have anything, and you might... Yeah. So he also believed that when they arrived at the next level, there would be no marriage, and higher level beings would have no reproductive organs. There wasn't going to be this gender type thing. Yeah. Members also began to dress in similar clothing and would receive the same haircut as a way to symbolically renounce their gender. Now,
so women had to get men haircuts.
If you look at the picture of T, Nettles,
I saw.
Early on,
he
gave her that haircut. So I think that was an early indication of the thought on gender and this.
Well, that's not quite fair. He should all be bald then, because
she had this beautiful hair.
Yeah, she did.
Then, most of their haircuts were like bowl cuts. And if you go to YouTube, there is there is footage of the Odies, and you can see that they do have like this. It's either like a buzz cut or it's cut very short.
Oh, I'll be watching all this stuff.
And so it was just a way of basically denouncing or getting rid of your gender symbolically. Like, okay, you know, they wore baggy clothes so you couldn't see bodily, you know, figure and things like that. They also probably felt like it's less tempting. If you have beautiful long hair and you're wearing tight clothes, you know, it might be less tempting for the men because that's important. Yeah, so... Although with a man, if you can't see a man's body, maybe the woman didn't get urges. Because sometimes a man looks pretty good.
So obviously their castration and hysterectomies didn't make a difference. They still did that so that there was no temptation.
Yeah, but it was probably happening early on, and the castrations kind of happened later. It was kind of all grouped in the 90s. So, yeah, so they did that. In 1996, the group moves into their last home, a mansion located in Rancho Santa Fe, California. Doe hears that
going there too.
Doe hears that a comet named Hale-Bopp is set to fly near Earth. If you go to the website, it's literally huge and it says Hale-Bopp, and yeah, that's the comet. He believes there is a spacecraft that's following behind this comet, and that his beloved T is aboard waiting for her followers.
Okay. Yep.
So for them, this was the time to ascend to the next level, to leave the humanly body behind. By 1997, everyone in the group started filming farewell videos. They planned to make their final exit, and their spirits would ascend into the spacecraft.
Oh boy.
These videos basically stated why they were doing it. They were happy. They knew their purpose. They are hard to watch. For me, they're kind of hard to watch just because you know what's coming, and they're just...
But they're happy about it. Like, they know what's coming.
They are, but in some of the faces, I feel like I see trepidation. Yeah. I think I see a little bit of fear of not knowing.
Yeah.
That little bit of doubt. But it also could be maybe they're camera shy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just watch the videos for yourself, guys.
Yeah, I want to watch.
And, yeah. Anyway.
So later.
The next part, guys, is very triggering. It could be upsetting so much. So once again, your discretion is advised at this next part. The members were part of a mass suicide believed to take place on March 22nd of 1997.
Which is not uncommon with a lot of different cults.
Yeah, no. This one was, of course, you are doing this so that you don't meet the end times and that you go to live a better life in the next level.
Right. You don't have to suffer through apocalypse.
I do hope that these people fully believed it.
Yeah.
And that they weren't scared.
Yeah.
And that... We'll get into it. Anyway, so the videos were recorded on March 19th. And so they're kind of doing rough dates because they don't know exactly what date it happened. They all took barbiturates that were mixed with alcohol. They lied down with bags over their heads and then died in bed.
Oh, good God.
Yes, and barbiturates are downers. Probably make you very sleepy. Who knows how many they took. They mixed it with alcohol and then they put the bags over their head. So who knows if the death was asphyxiation or from the drugs.
I mean, I would
probably could have looked that up, but I didn't think about it until I just talked about it.
They were probably a little, like, super, like, passed out and had no idea.
Exactly.
And that was the idea behind it.
Yes. Yep. Marshall Applewhite, or as we have come to know him, Doe, was one of the final 4 to die. So he had 3 other people kind of assisting him. I don't know why.
So, like, he helped these people put the bags over their heads and, like, all that.
Well, they also apparently did a sequence of, like, 15, 15, 9.
So they watched the other people just dying. That's crazy.
I think the sequence to them was maybe, like, okay, so the spaceship has to pick up a certain sequence of people or something like that. So it might have even been over a span of days. I am not 100% sure. So, yeah.
And what are the people who are standing there watching think when the next day their spirits haven't left? How do they, like...
Well, they don't know. They don't know that.
Oh, my gosh.
How are they going to know that?
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, of course, yes, they didn't see the UFO, but at this point, the UFO is probably invisible. Who the fuck knows?
It's
just
crazy
tailing behind this comet.
Yeah, that they're actually just... It blows my mind that they didn't do it all at once and that they're watching these people, like, suffocating to death and just...
And even after Doe,
wow.
there were 3 more who had to complete theirs.
Wait, so he did his before the other 3?
Doe was one of the last 4. He had assistance from other helpers, and then the last 3 went.
I've been like, peace, yo, I'm out.
Yeah, same. They were believers, man. They believed this wholeheartedly.
Wow, they still did it right after. That is so crazy.
So all members were wearing Nike shoes with matching black uniforms with patches that said Heaven's Gate Away Team. The sneakers were like black Nikes. The uniform was just very boxy and plain. And the away team was basically because they felt being on Earth was them being away and they were finally going back. So they were the away team. Police received an anonymous tip on March 26th to visit the home in Rancho Santa Fe. When they arrived, they found a tragic scene. Who knows?
Huh.
They probably had neighbors. They probably thought just weird shit was going on.
Well, when 40 people never left the house again.
Well, they probably never left anyway.
Yeah,
who knows?
True.
They found 36 Heaven's Gate members deceased. And if you think about it, that's why they kind of had to do the date range a little bit, because the videos were done this day, the deaths this day, and then they weren't found until the 26th. It immediately, of course, became a media circus. There is video footage of the deceased. There is just footage of them being taken out of the house in body bags. It was completely insane. Media outlets began, of course, sharing the videos made by Applewhite. They showed this man with wild eyes, and it was just quite alarming to see. He is kind of a very intense looking human. If you look at screenshots, if you look at the videos, and of course they picked moments where he looked. There are some moments where he's just sitting there and he's just talking. He's just giving his passionate talk about what he believes, and then there's other times that he's he looks crazed. So those are the moments that, of course, they chose. And yeah, that right there, that's the tragic end of the Heaven's Gate cult / movement. And maybe they're on a spacecraft at the next level. Maybe something did get them. We can't know. We won't know. Maybe this guy was right.
Maybe he could have been. Maybe
he was the Messiah. Maybe he did come from a planet, and I don't know.
No, nobody knows. All I can keep thinking about though is like
only the 36.
The last person to have to do it, like they would have assisted the other person, but they have to tie their own bag and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Well, and fuck you guys too.
It's literally like you'll see the rooms have like bunk beds.
Yeah.
So there's just these identical bodies just laying on 36. 36. That doesn't sit great with me. This episode doesn't sit great with me. I have to keep telling myself that I really hope they believed this wholeheartedly.
Well, they had to have. If they didn't leave after these people did their portion and it was done in portions like that, they had to have been.
Oh God.
They had to have been.
It's just so scary. Those last moments. And seeing these people so alive and then knowing that after they filmed this, they were voluntarily going to their death. It's just does not sit well with me. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Do you think they made it to that next level? Do you think they're living it up on a planet? Heaven planet?
Planet heaven.
Hanging out with Jesus? Let me know.
Alien.
Yeah. And if you need more of this, like I said, there is a great, I think it's like 3 or 4 parts documentary on HBO. They talk to Terry Nettles. They talk to former members and things like that. So it is really, really, really good so far. I haven't finished it or anything like that. I'm like halfway through the first episode because I was like, all right, I need to put this away for tonight. And yeah, so
I'll be watching that and the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, go watch the YouTube stuff. I did include on the document, I don't know if you put it in the sources, I did include
it's in the sources.
Doe's final exit, which is like the full final video, I do believe.
Yeah, I believe I put that down in the sources. So
okay,
if you
so that will be on there. You guys can just click it. It's like over an hour long.
Yeah.
You see him kind of talking about, and the videos are trippy. They use like science fiction-y type lights. And when you see him, they use like this doubling where it's like him and then it's like him, like echoed in the back. These videos are trippy,
Star Trek-y
and crazy, and yeah. So,
oh boy, well,
that's Heaven's Gate.
Go do more research on it, y'all.
Rest in peace. Hopefully you're in space, having a good life. Mm-hmm. We, of course, will be back next week for another episode.
And the live.
Yes, the live is next week. But if you're itching for more of us until then, you can visit our website. We have pictures from each episode, blurbs about your lovely hosts, and, of course, all our episode sources. You can find that at www.morethanmurderpod.com. You can also go follow our YouTube page. We have the first episode in the Paranormal Snoop series, so go check that out if you haven't yet. All you got to do is type More Than Murder in the search bar and hit the bell. Hit it.
Ring.
Yes. Then go over and follow on the socials. You can find us on Facebook at...
Oh, it's my turn.
Yes.
More Than Murder.
Twitter at...
More Than _murder.
Yep. And Insta at...
More Than Murder Pod.
Yes. Go do that. We also want to hear from you guys, and there are actually a few ways that you can do that. If you are an Apple listener, let us know what you think by leaving us a review.
Yes, reviews.
Review.
They help us get seen.
Yes, we appreciate the feedback, and those reviews help us get seen by people who may not know that we exist.
Yes.
And they might enjoy the show. So do that. If you do leave a review, make sure to email us or even send a Facebook message. Leave your name and your address, and we'll send you free stuff.
Yeah, we got
for free.
Custom
free stuff.
merch, y'all.
Yeah, for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do that. So that email us at the Gmail. You can do that for your review, or you can also say hi, leave us a story. Maybe you know someone who was in Heaven's Gate. Maybe you've been to one of the haunted places that we have discussed in the past episodes.
Maybe you know if the Heaven's Gate, any of those places are travelable and you've been to one.
And you've been there, yeah. Email us. We are nice. We do not bite. We would love to hear from you. And you can do that at the Gmail, morethanmurderpod@gmail.com. So, yeah, we out.
That about does it, I'd say. Thanks. We will see you next Friday for our episode and for our live, which is the 18th.
The 18th, yes.
Be there or...
This is going to be corny, and I'm sorry, but happy anniversary to my husband. 5 years today, and I love you, and you're listening, so mwah, love you.
Tomorrow, yeah. Oh, today?
Today.
Oh.
Well, this drops on the 11th.
Oh, we're recording on Thursday, guys, so yeah. At least I did remember exactly what day it was.
Yes.
Just forgot what day we're theoretically speaking on.
Yes. So today, happy anniversary, and thank you guys so much for listening. We fucking love you guys.
Yes.
And yeah, we're out. Bye.
Well, bye. 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 Bye.